quiet.
I don't care when it started, it clicked in our minds, we found a way to win. That changes teams right there. But you never say die. You never say die, man. Hey, it's a great day to be a battle hawk. Yeah. I love you guys. Yes. Get more on three. 1, 2, 3. Get more.
Come on, man.
What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the XFL Week in Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry. Checking my mic levels here. I'm your host, Mark Perry, editor of XFL News Hub, your alt football media guru, episode 182. Games have been played. The season has begun. We got a recap of Game 1 action. Mike Mitchell's power rankings. San Antonio is the home of the XFL championship game, and so much more. So listen up. If you like football, then like and subscribe to our channel. Let's get 100 likes. Hit the notification bell. Get alerted when we got new posts and new content. And hang out with your boys over at xflnewshub.com. Remember also to join our Alt Football Reddit community. Just go to Alt Football as well. And we have News Hub Fantasy Leagues are forming now. You could still join leagues. We have over 4,000 players in 1,000 leagues. And we also have USFL Fantasy and CFL Fantasy also coming soon. Now you can actually sign up for USFL Fantasies and start creating your leagues now. So we have a lot to talk about today. We're also going to talk about the BeerSnake Revolt, where I was there, and my videos, and one of my buddies behind us, his video, fellow season ticket holder, went viral. We'll talk about all that later on in the show. Get your reaction on what I want to know is your thoughts. Winners, losers of week 1 in the XFL season. Let us know in the comments. What's up, everybody in the chat room? Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today on the program. If you want to be part of the show, email podcast at XFL News Hub with your MP3s or videos. Or call 888-430-7692 extension 3. We've got plenty of phone calls in the program today. I just realized my voice is tired from yelling last night. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate all of you reviews, good or bad. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, the whole deal. We do have 2 reviews. They're not very kind for your boy. First up, we got a review from Jay Dizzle with a bunch of numbers. Says this guy cannot put a complete sentence together without tripping over his words or forgetting what he was talking about. If Joe Biden did a sportscast, this would be it. Well, Jay Dizzle, let me tell you something, a difference about me and a lot of the other podcasters. Number one, some of the podcasters, that's all they do. Number 2, all they do is they don't do it live like I do it. I'm like, screw it. Let's just do it live. All the mistakes, all the is part of just, let's just do it live. I just have more fun doing it live. I used to record it and spend hours cleaning it up, making it nice. I'm like, I'll just go live because it's just fun. As far as Joe Biden goes, so the other thing I started doing was wearing my glasses but also Jay Dizzle, my friend over there with the 2 stars. I have a full-time job, 6 kids, a wife, and I do this on the side for fun. I also run XFL News Hub, USFL News Hub, CFL News Hub. That's just some of the sites that you know about. So I have a lot of buckets, if you will. And it's usually not, hey, I would love to, originally when this started, it was just to cover the XFL. Then the XFL started talking the CFL, and I was like, no one's really covering the CFL in the United States. Let's do a CFL News Hub. Keep my guys making money during you know what. And then the USFL came back, and I was like, all right, well, we'll just cover the USFL on XFL News Hub. But then that didn't work out. So then we spun a third site, USFL News Hub, beginning a year ago, right about now. Spun that up. So I'm a busy guy. But I'll tell you this, this isn't the finish line. This is just the beginning. This is what I call phase 2 of the master 5-year plan. So we're just in phase 2. Talk to me next year, my friend. We'll see where things are at then. Also, 3 stars. Okay, a little bit better. Lurch. Hopefully you're not like a hunched over guy. So the USFL podcast is so much better in quality. Yeah, and those guys do a good job. They also record it. That's a big difference. I'm live. So there you have it, Lurch. XFL needs to fix the sound issues on guests on the Zoom calls. And fans have reached out when we had the Zoom call thing and trying to fix the audio stuff. I have stuff in the works. I'm trying to improve all that stuff. I'm growth mindset, trying to make improvements with the audio quality of the program. And that is be part of phase 3. But if he says the minor adjustments to overall sound performance of the show, it could be better. Again, hey, construction criticism is fine by me, but just so that if you're sitting out there wondering, I do this live and I don't edit anything. I do it live. I also do all the transitions. I'm also running the video that you see on the screen. I'm also doing that all at the same time, reading the content, et cetera, running a show all by myself. And that's fine. That's the way I like it. It's all good. So there you have it there. Also, if you want to watch us live, but I appreciate it. Hey, if you want to combat those 2 guys, and they gave a little constructive criticism, that's okay. I'm a big boy. I can take it. I can take a lot of heat. Leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Now, you can watch XFL Week in Review live at 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday and now Thursday. So we're technically not Week in Review. You know what I'm saying? With the OG XFL Week in Review. So you can listen to us and watch us every Monday and Thursday. The Thursday show is a success. I asked, hey, do you guys want us to keep doing it? And you said yes. And your wish is my command, my friends. All right, so on the show this week, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the news, recap, commercial break. Then we're going to get into the BeerSnake Revolt, my take on it, your take on it. We'll get into that, my solutions to the BeerSnake Revolt, as well as your social media stuff and phone calls, the whole deal. Excited for you guys to be with me. Excited that we got through the first week. Games were good. 3 games, they were good. We'll get to that in just a second. So without further ado, folks, as I'm going here with my mouse, trying to find the next spot, filling up time, found the button. Without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the XFL with games. The XFL announces San Antonio as the championship game, so the XFL 2023 season has begun, and it didn't take long for the league to announce the site of its championship game, the home of the San Antonio Brahmas. The Alamodome will be the venue that hosts the league's championship game on Saturday, May 13th. The XFL 2023 title game will air on ABC at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have a picture from Greg Luca of the battle. The San Antonio Brahmas had about 22,000 fans at the game this week, so the XFL making the big announcement. The XFL championship game will arrive 2 weeks after the playoffs start. There will be a bye week between the semifinals and championship game, as evidenced by Sunday's fantastic crowd turnout in San Antonio. The Alamodome is an excellent choice for a spring pro football championship game. If Hines Ward's Brahmas make it that far, they could push the league's largest crowd of the 2023 XFL season. The official press release says the XFL announced today the Alamodome, home of the San Antonio Brahmas, has been selected as the host site for its inaugural XFL championship game. XFL ownership group, Danny Garcia, Dwayne Johnson, Jerry Cardinale of Redbird Capital announced before the San Antonio Brahmas home opener. We had reported on that. Somebody had tweeted about that could be coming. The game will be played May 13th, of course, 8 p.m. on EBC. We're thrilled to announce that San Antonio and Alamodome will host this season's inaugural championship game, said Danny Garcia, chairwoman and owner. I've been so impressed by the enthusiasm and commitment from the fans at San Antonio. We can't wait to bring together the best of the XFL North and XFL South to compete for the championship title, to celebrate our players, coaches, and the revival of professional football in San Antonio. Our inaugural XFL season is officially rolling, with our 8 teams showing out and representing the passionate fans of their cities, Dwayne Johnson, co-owner, said. From now through May, our athletes will have their eyes set on a championship game, and we're pumped to bring this historic event to the Alamodome. On a personal note, started my wrestling career in San Antonio, specifically at the Alamodome. It's my very first Royal Rumble. City, fans, San Antonio of the state of Texas helped shape my career, close quote. San Antonio was announced as one of the 8 cities hosting the XFL team at a press conference on July 24th in Arlington, Texas. Mayor says Russ Brandon says we're proud. San Antonio is a spot, said the mayor. Alamodome is built for the biggest championship events. Interim executive director of the convention, blah, blah, blah. Additional details for the XFL championship game, including ticket information, will be announced later. Of course, we knew all along that definitely I was thinking Arlington, but Arlington got so much money from the XFL for just being there. So it makes sense that Alamodome is the biggest venue that they could fill stands with. So it would make sense that the league would have their championship game there. No surprise it would be in Texas. Thought maybe, well, I couldn't even do Vegas because with their stadium situation. This seemed to be the best spot for it, other that or St. Louis, but they went with the Alamodome. Keep it in Texas. And San Antonio balled out with already 22,000 fans. So, and with a very short window. So San Antonio, congratulations, you have the championship game is there. The question is your team going to be in the championship? I don't know, man. I don't know. The great Mike Mitchell has his week 1 power rankings. So XFL is officially back. Week 1 of the 2023 season has arrived and is in the books. As is typical any football league, half of the teams are undefeated after a week of play and the other half are winless. So there's plenty of knee-jerk doom and gloom reactions to go around. It's challenging to make a declaration of power after only 4 games. However, at the least, we have something to work off of now, finally seeing these 8 new teams play. So week 1 power rankings is Mike Mitchell has it stacked up. Number 1, the Houston Roughnecks are coming off their predictable but dominating performance over the Guardians at TD-ECU Stadium. Houston trounced Orlando 33-12, and if not for a controversial tie, goes to the runner, Cody Latimer, touchdown early on. The game would have been even more lopsided on the scoreboard. I had Orlando getting 3 points. You take that score out, it would have been interesting there. That's number 1. Number 2, America's team, your DC Defenders. The Defenders found a way to slither themselves to victory, BeerSnake or not, for parts of Sunday's night's 22-18 triumph over Seattle. Felt like week 1 would leave a sour taste on the Defenders' 2023 relaunch, but DC's crowd and Greg Williams' defense made lemons out of lemonade after appearing to be on the ropes early on. Yes, I was there, and I was concerned about that. Number 3, the St. Louis Battlehawks. No one had to be more excited for victory in the XFL opening weekend than the St. Louis Battlehawks. For most of their games at San Antonio, the Battlehawks were listless on offense and outplayed by Hines Ward's team in front of the biggest XFL crowd of the weekend at the Alamodome. However, St. Louis caught some breaks to keep hope alive, as evidenced by the combination of a dropped touchdown pass and a shanked short field goal by Brahmas before the end of the first half. The missteps, of course, left St. Louis open, and they seized several moments, scoring improbable 18-15 win. Definitely, that was an exciting game. I was at the bar at Walters. Couldn't really watch the game. I plan on watching it in the next day or so. But there you go. Arlington Renegades, number 4, the last of the winning teams. Renegades defense saved the day for Arlington against Vegas. If not for a Jay Hayes and Tim Lewis brilliant second half adjustment, Bob Soup's squad was headed for an ugly home loss. The 2 defensive scores by Arlington defense helped the Renegades ride to a 22-20 home dub. And it was close. They had a chance. I mean, the Vegas Vipers were in it. That could have changed the tide. It'd be interesting to see who's the quarterback going for both teams in week 2. Seattle Sea Dragons should be 1-0, but they started hot, then rallied late, and appeared to be on the verge of a last-second victory before Ben DiNucci fumbled at the goal line with seconds left. Seattle outgained DC 331-177 and still lost 22-18. I have no qualms whatsoever. Seattle is a good team. They'll bounce back. It was just they were on the precipice. They were on the precipice, and I think they have a real good squad. Don't keep the Seattle Sea Dragons out, but at number 5, I agree with him there. Vegas Vipers, number 6. Rod Woodson's Vegas squad let the Arlington Renegades off the hook With backbreaking mistakes, the Vipers got off to a 14-3 halftime lead, but lost control of the game in the second half. There were some positives. The Vipers made some plays in their passing attack early and late, and Chris Gisman's defense was phenomenal. Vic Beasley was a star in his XFL debut. Agree with there. Number 7, the Brahmas have no one to blame but themselves for their improbable 18-15 loss at home to St. Louis. For the most of Sunday's game, San Antonio kept hitting St. Louis with body blows but failed to knock them out. The Brahmas kept the Battlehawks in the game by tripping over their own feet on several occasions. That's why they're there. And, of course, the consensus worst team in the league, Orlando Guardians, the consensus favorite to be the league's worst team, is headed into the XFL 23 season. Didn't disappoint. To quote the late, great Dennis Green, the Guardians are who we thought they were. The Orlando Guardians were outclassed by the Roughnecks players, and more specifically their coaches Saturday night. The 33-12 loss to Houston feels like the start of what's shaping up to be a brutal season for Terrell Buckley's Orlando squad. Still plenty of games to be played, so Mike Mitchell's power ranking still as follows. He's got number 1 is the Houston Roughnecks. Well, let's get Houston Roughnecks number 1, DC Defenders number 2, St. Louis Battlehawks 3, Arlington Renegades 4, Seattle Sea Dragons 5, Vegas Vipers 6, San Antonio Brahmas 7, and then finally Orlando Guardians 8. Let us know what you think in the comments of who the power rank is. Do you agree with this list, or would you make any adjustments? All right, let's recap the games for the XFL's Week 1. Now, first I want to point out, if you were watching our show last week, you see that I had the Vegas Vipers 13, Arlington Renegades 21 was my prediction. By the way, I hit the parlay. I picked all 4 games right. And I also parlayed that, won a nice little bit of money. So I was happy there, especially with the St. Louis come-from-behind victory. This one made me nervous. 22-20, the Arlington Renegades win the first game. Some stats to look at for the team. Luis Perez, 22 of 36 for 249, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. And those 2 picks went for points in the other direction. That was kind of tough. I did hear on the other XFL Week in Review podcast that I happened to listen to that Rod Woodson was not very kind to Luis Perez, basically saying, like, what are you doing? You don't throw that ball like that. He was not happy. Not really much in the rushing game, only 25 yards for the Vegas Vipers. John Lovett was 4 carries for 10 yards. Nothing really too crazy about that. The guy, Jeff Vidette, 6 catches for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the guy in the first half that kind of disappeared. Connect Sweetney, 3 for 64 for the touchdown. He had 4 targets. Jeff Vidette with 9 targets. Martavis Bryant, 4 of 28. He had 9 targets, but only 4 catches there. Another guy that's supposed to be on people's watch list is Geronimo Allison, 3 catches for 22 yards and 4 targets there. That's the stats breakdown for the Vipers. For the Renegades, Drew Plitt, 19 of 25, 172 yards and an interception. You think they would have been better off with Kyle Sloter? I kind of think they would have. But Plitt, they're high on Plitt. I'm sure he'll go for week 2. But, if they would have lost this game, I'd be curious if Plitt would start in week 2. We'll see what the crew does. On the ground game, Devon Smith, Mr. Chicken Salad over Pizza, makes his return to the spring football. 15 of 42 yards. His longest was 8, average 2.8, no TDs for him. On the wide receiver side, not much. Tyler Vaughn's 4 catches for 38 yards. Brandon Arcondo, 3 catches for 32 yards, 5 targets. Those are main guys. The guy on the guy, and we said that the best tight end in the USFL is now in the XFL, Sal Cannella. 7 catches, 70 yards, 8 targets. Sal Cannella is a guy. So that is somebody to always keep you when you're doing DFS or any of these other leagues or fantasy football and News Hub Fantasy. Sal Cannella is the best tight end in the league so far. That is your recap of the Arlington Vipers games. Orlando Guardians, 12. Houston Roughnecks, 33. I had 3-16. I thought it was going to be a defensive thing, but I was right. The Guardians didn't play well. It hit the over. A lot of these games hit the over. I had everything low scoring because I thought everybody was going to be below the over. A lot of them hit above the over. Paxton Lynch, 15 of 21, 136, touchdown and a pick. Quentin Dormandy, 12 of 18, 142 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Not much from there. On the ground, Jahmaine Martin, 9 carries for 41 yards. Kelvin 5 rushes for 28 yards. Not really. They did get 78 yards on the ground, and that defense is good in Houston. You knew it would be with Wade Phillips. You knew it would be. That defense was good. I'd like to see how they do in week 2. Brandon Silvers, 26 of 42, 272, 2 picks and 2 interceptions. Everybody got excited because Cole McDonald came into the game. Max Borghi could be a guy. 8 carries, 42 rushing yards, 5.3 average, and a touchdown. His longest was 27. Dijon Lee, 6 for 25. But Cole McDonald running in for a touchdown, 4 of 14. I think the future is, 26 of 42 for Brandon Silvers. I think Cole McDonald is the guy. I would love to see him start. But Silvers did well, 2 picks. And here's the other thing that people are going to say, talking about some of these teams and interceptions or whatever. We have to remember that it's not always the quarterback's fault. Now, clearly, Rod Woodson with Luis Perez made it sound like it was 100% Luis Perez's fault. Well, when it comes to this stuff, the timing between the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, they still have yet to sync as well as they should. And I think that will continue. That we won't get there basically until week 3. Travell Harris, 5 for 48 with 11 targets. 11 targets. Now, this is a high-throwing offense, too, this kind of modified run and shoot. Jontre Kirkland could be a guy. 5 catches, 71, 8 targets. He had a touchdown. Deontay Burnett, 8 catches, 90 yards, a TD, 12 targets. Travell Harris, 11 targets. Jontre Kirkland, 8 targets. Deontay Burnett, 12 targets. Pick your guys there. Nick Holley, nothing. 0, but 2 targets on there. So a convincing win from the Houston Roughnecks. Then we go into Sunday's game. 18, the Battlehawks, 15, Brahmas. You want to see what I picked? St. Louis Battlehawks, 17. San Antonio Brahmas, 14. That's right. That was my pick. That was pretty dang good. Pretty dang good there. Pretty close. A.J. McCarron, 18 of 26, 190, 2 touchdowns, no picks for him. Also rushed for 12 yards. Brian Hill seems to be the guy on the ground. 6 carries for 55 yards, 68 rushing yards for the team. On the offensive side, they spread the ball all around. Let's see, guys with big numbers. Marcel Aitman, who is a guy that we thought would be the guy. 2 catches, 45 yards, 33, got 4 targets. Hakeem Butler, 3 catches for 32 yards and a TD. He got all 3 of his targets. Brian Hill caught 3 balls out of the backfield for 26. Jake Sutherland got 1 catch for 21. The big guy, 4 catches, 49 yards, a touchdown on a huge game, huge catches throughout the game. Austin Prohl, son of Ricky Prohl, the wide receivers coach, he had 4 targets, 4 catches for 49. They got a squad. They have a squad. They do have to put it together on they're not sinking just yet, but I think they're on their way. This could have easily went to the Brahmas. On the Brahmas offensive side of the ball, Jack Cohen, 25 of 36, 207 yards, a touchdown and a pick. It's fine. Average 5.8 yards. They love to run the ball. Hines Ward, ladies and gentlemen, loves to run the ball. Check out these numbers. Jaquez Patrick, 10 carries for 38 yards. Kalen Balazs, 24 carries for 84 yards, no touchdowns from the rushing side, 39 carries, 133 yards. So they like to run the ball a la the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you're going to pick a running back, the team to pick is the Brahmas. You want Sal Cannella as your tight end, and you want Brahma running back Kalen Balazs as your running back there. On the wide receiving side of the ball, Landon Akers, 7 catches for 35 yards, 7 targets, only a 5-point average. Jalen Tolliver, 3 catches for 49 yards, 5 targets. Kalen Balazs got 13 yards out of the backfield. Fred Brown, 4 catches, 36 yards for 4 targets. Alize Mack also had 5 targets, but only 3 catches for 9 yards. The passing game for this league will, like I said, will get in sync as we move forward. But hey, that was a pretty good darn pick by me. All right, on to the final game, the game that I was at, the Seattle Sea Dragons taking on the DC Defenders. And this was a good game. 18-22, America's team. The DC Defenders win it. I had the score of 20-24. That is a 4-point difference. What was the final score of this game? 18-22. What is the math, young children? I'll wait. Get out your calculators. A 4-point difference. But I was nervous. A guy got to actually meet his family at Walters before the game. Very nice. His dad was very nice. And if you see on my wall, I actually have a towel, Ben DiNucci towel. I'm high on Ben DiNucci. I'm glad he lost to our DC Defenders, but I think he's a guy. 35 for 54, 282 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Steven Montez came in briefly with 1 for 2 for 6 yards, but Ben DiNucci is the guy slinging the ball all around the field. He's somebody to look out for. I think he will do well. I'll be really curious to see how he does this week against St. Louis. We'll get into that in a second. Brandon Knox, 11 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown. Basically, the ground game got them 51 yards. They like to sling it. 6 catches for 74 yards, 9 targets. Who do you think that was? Josh Gordon. That's right. Also, guys, Blake Jackson, 8 catches for 51 yards. He got 11 targets. Oh, and Josh Gordon also got a touchdown. Ja'Cour Pearson, 12 catches for 95 yards, 14 targets. So they like to sling it. They will be slinging it. We know June Jones's offense. I think they will be clicking. And I think the Defenders squeaked one out. And I think maybe it was because the power of the lemon is how that made that. Jordan Ta'amu, 8 of 19, 86 yards and an interception. Nothing there. This guy that sparked it was Derek King, not on by passing game. So Raquel Armstead, 8 carries for 30 yards. Abram Smith, the big number 1 overall pick, 11 catches for 28, or 11 rushes for 28 yards. Jordan Ta'amu running in 5 for 9, got in a touchdown. Derek King, 8 for 14 and a rushing touchdown as well. Big game from him. He's short, but he's an exciting player. I'm excited about him. On the receiving side, not much. Lucky Jackson got 4 catches for 25 yards at 5 targets. Josh Malone, Ethan Wolf, both had 4 targets, but each only had 1 catch. So the offensive slinging the ball was not there. The offense was not there. Is it because the Sea Dragons have a good offense or defense, or was it that the DC Defenders' offense was a little lacking? We'll have to find out as the season goes on, or is the DC Defenders' defense that good? We just don't know. But there you have it. Those are all 4 games from the XFL this past weekend. How nice is it to just talk about games? Week 2, your Week 2 matchups is Thursday night. So you'll have this show at 8 p.m. leading into the St. Louis Battlehawks against the Seattle Sea Dragons. You can find that game on FX. That is 9 p.m. Eastern. So again, hang out with me. Then at 9 o'clock, we'll head into the game. Saturday night on FX as well, the DC Defenders take on the Vegas Vipers, and Las Vegas will be Vegas's home opener. Interesting to see how that stadium goes. I think St. Louis, Seattle, we'll have to look at the lines. Remember, on Thursday, we'll go over all that stuff. DC Defenders, Vipers, I feel confident DC can take it. I'm a little concerned about DC's offense at this point. Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, We have the San Antonio Brahmas against the Orlando Guardians. This is in Orlando, so Orlando, that will be on ESPN. And then Renegades at Roughnecks. This is the game of the night on ESPN2, Sunday night at 7 p.m. This should be a good game. Arlington Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, Stoops against Wade Phillips. Excellent games. Reaction to week 1 in the books. Get to start talking about week 2. Stay tuned to XFL News Hub for all the latest information. Let's take a commercial break and get back to your social media stuff and everything else you want to talk about right after this. Get ready for the biggest XFL season yet with RunTheSims.com, your ultimate toolkit for XFL DFS and prop betting. With DraftKings offering XFL contests with huge prize pools, you want to have the best tools and player projections at your fingertips. And Run the Sims delivers with their lineup optimizer, showdown simulator, and expert pick'em tools for prize picks and underdog. So here's the deal. Use code NEWSHUB for 10% off a monthly or weekly spring football subscription and get access to accurate projections to help you make informed decisions and make that money. That's runthesims.com. Use the promo code NEWSHUB for 10% off. So if you followed spring football and in the past, you know the information edge can be massive. So if you want to win big, subscribe to runthesims.com and use the promo code NEWSHUB today to save 10% off. What is up, my friends? Day 1 in the books, heading into day 2. Me and the wife heading to the DC Defenders game. We'll be at Walters, hang out, say hello, and then we'll head over to the game. It's just been a crazy emotional thing. We've been covering the league since 2018, and to finally have 5 games and then actually be back and actually sitting on the couch watching XFL games, watching all the movement on Twitter and Facebook and traffic to the site and traffic to our YouTube channel and all this other stuff. It's been crazy to kind of like, to watch and see all this stuff. Just super thankful for the league to be back. Super thankful for you guys being part of the family at XFL News Hub. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the writers putting in the work and a lot of great content. So stay tuned. We're going to have some fun today in DC. All right, done with Walters. Always the spot before a game. Now making the trek down the stadium. This is our first time checking out the stadium, so we're super excited. It's great to meet some bunch of fans at the event, but now it's game time. Let's go. Here's our seats over there. Fans talking. So we're back here in DC. DC Defender. What do you think of your seats? Very nice seats, huh? right, that's a wrap. DC Defenders with the big win. You got your first game. What'd you think?
It was awesome. Great.
Yeah, there's controversy with the BeerSnake. We were right in the middle of that. But the crowd was on fire, especially after they threw the lemons. And it was super fun night. Great games of football. Week 1 is a wrap. It's late. It's midnight here. We got something to eat at Walter's before we head home. And any last final words? You did get a blanket.
I did.
So she got a blanket.
XFL blanket.
An XFL blanket. So
It's
official
official.
XFL blanket. So we had a great time, and the DC Defenders won. Oh, and I hit the parlay. So there you go. All right, my friends, we are back. Yeah, that was a little behind the scenes of the trip to the DC Defenders game, as well as what you saw there was video of the BeerSnake Revolt. Let's get into that here in a second. First of all, it was a great time. Great time. Parking was easy. Parked near Walters. Walked over. Went to Walters. Went before the game. Met with some great fans. Thank you for everybody that came up to me, whether you're at the game or at Walters. Got to talk to the mayor of the XFL. That was a great conversation had with him. A guy that travels to all the games and real passion for the league. So it was great talking with him for a while. Meeting all the fans. Nate, we met him. He sent a message in the show. We'll get into that. Plus, just fans just walking around. Hey, Mark, appreciate what you do. And that means a lot to me, guys. I appreciate it. Put in a lot of effort and a lot of time covering alt football world. And we try to be the #1 spot, whether it's XFL, USFL, CFL, just to kind of shine a light on the alt football world. So appreciate all of that. It was great. So let's start at the beginning. So everything was great. We got into the stadium. My wife, part of the deal, I was like, you get to put a BeerSnake, you got to drink a beer and put it on the BeerSnake. The town, the XFL, the XFL is known for 2 things. Cacaw is the law, Cacaw in the Battlehawks world, and the BeerSnake in DC. That's what the league is known for. Those 2 things, especially the BeerSnake. Cacaw could be similar, but the BeerSnake is everywhere. You just do BeerSnake. It's DC's thing. The fans have waited 3 stinking years to get back to that stadium, watch an XFL game, and make their the BeerSnake. We all know about the BeerSnake. We went to all the events. They was brought up every single time. The coaches knew it. The players knew it. At first, they didn't know. They were like, what are you talking about, the BeerSnake? They do a little Google search. They figure it out. Okay, BeerSnake, it's a thing. That's a DC Defenders thing. Awesome. So my wife gets there, and I said, okay, well, the game's about to start. I could see the BeerSnake being created. Go over there, and she went over there, and she talked to 3 different, because my wife is friends with everybody. She is an angel and a saint. By the way, smash that like button, by the way, for having a good wife, a great wife, my angel. And so she went over and was talking to the staff, and, just because we weren't sure if she was allowed in that section because she doesn't have a ticket. And she explained to 3 different people, and they would just let her in. None of them had a clue what she was talking about with the BeerSnake. And they let her in, and she's like, I'm just going to do this. My seat's right over there. Really excited to be back here. BeerSnake. No one had any idea what she was talking about. 3 people on staff who were in that section knew nothing about the BeerSnake. That's number 1. So she puts the cup in. She comes back. The fans are filed in. They're getting all fired up. The BeerSnake starts to grow. Fans start throwing cups. I get that part. Then they take away the BeerSnake. And the energy of the stadium just disappeared. It was gone. And for the first half, the stadium was dead. They tried to build a BeerSnake. They would break it up. They would do it again. The security would break it up. And more security started going over there. And basically the first half was over. And then the energy was out of the building. The Rock showed up, Danny Garcia, Jerry Carnell. The Rock took a video looking at that section. That is the section. If you look in that stadium, that section is packed. They're packed because they want to drink their beer and make their dang BeerSnake. That's why they're there. All the other sections were sparse, decent, good crowd, 12,000, not what it was when the league first came out. You got to remember it's a Sunday night, whatever excuse you can want to make. The buildup wasn't as big. 12,000, that's kind of the average that the games are getting, which is good, except for, Seattle or St. Louis, hopefully in Seattle. Well, I've heard Seattle might be on the down. But there is where that's kind of where we're at. And the energy is that Mike Mitchell messaged me and he said, man, like even on television, you could tell that the crowd is just out of it and they took away the BeerSnake. So the second half rolls around and then you start to see the lemons getting thrown on the field. And people were kind of chuckling, and then there was more lemons on the field. And security guards, people that worked there were just kind of looking at it. I'm like, well, I'm concerned about player safety. Maybe you should clean it up. And then when Seattle got closer, someone threw a lemon and it hit a player on the helmet. You could see it in the video on ESPN. And that one of the Seattle players, rightfully so, picked it up, picked a lemon, threw it in the crowd, and that just kind of ignited everybody, and the energy kind of came back in the building because it was like, okay, if you're not going to let us do the BeerSnake, we're going to throw these lemons that apparently you get from a bourbon. So you could buy a bourbon drink, and then it comes with a half a lemon in it. That's where the lemon came from. So they started going on the field. But the energy started wearing. And once it was that interception, run it back for a touchdown, the place actually just exploded and everything was back on fire. I mean, as in like the energy was back. And then they would build a BeerSnake and they would take it away. And that's kind of what happened. Then basically with 2 minutes left in the game, they finally decided enough and they let them make their BeerSnake. No one was throwing cups. They were just moving it over, stacking it. Everything's fine. I'm not going to call out. I had pictures of who I believe were making the decision on the field. I feel for the staff that had to deal with that because I live in a corporate world. We all do. There's a lot of pencil pushers that don't do the work, sitting on their phones, meanwhile making other people who aren't making jack squat probably go do the work. If you don't want the BeerSnake, you remove it yourself. That's number one. So I feel for the staff in that instance. The problem is you can't be throwing. I understand the stadium's point of view that you can't throw the cups. Got it. Agree with you 100%. You can't throw anything on the field. Very concerned. The fact that there was tons of corporate dudes and other people standing around, and not one of them, it was like the film guy or the ball boys were actually moving. The referees were taking the lemons off the field. The other guys were just standing there. So why were you standing there? Why weren't you cleaning off the field? And it was just kept call, like dude was on his phone. Every time the crowd would do something, and he'd be like, you go do, you take care of it. You get that out. Just staring at the crowd. So who knows what the deal is? Number one, anytime that there's a failure in anything, there's three pillars. Number one, none of the staff knew about the BeerSnake. So there was no conversation about the BeerSnake anywhere. That's a problem. Number two, you had a drink that you could put something in that people could throw, which was the bourbon drink. So that was a problem as well. I would assume at the bourbon drink from now on, they will squeeze the lemon and you'll never see lemons get thrown on the field again. And I don't know what the other pillar would be. I mean, it was lack of communication. And I guess the quick ramp up of like, even when we were at Walters, we were talking to somebody from the staff and I asked her, I said, what is it like this on a Sunday? And she's like, I don't even know why it's so crowded. Like, what's going on? And we're like, the XFL is back, DC Defenders. Oh, and I heard that something, and that's kind of the vibe about the whole XFL thing. And I think why ratings will kind of be down. Traffic to the site was not record breaking for us. 2020 was a lot bigger, which was funny because the site was not anywhere it could handle the power of, it was crashing all the time. So the ramp up, but that was, delays, big delay because of Las Vegas. So those are the three pillars. All right. So how do you solve the problem? Well, number one, you have to have the BeerSnake. There's no question you have to have the BeerSnake. That is something that I was able to get my wife. Now, she would have came with me anyways, but that she was very interested in being partaken that. Why we have the seats where we have the seats. That is the best section in the XFL. The north end of Audi Field is the best section in the XFL by far. That section was packed, or all the other sections weren't. You have to have the BeerSnake. When we talked to Eric Moses, who was the president of the DC Defenders in 2020, we were talking about the BeerSnake, and his issue with the BeerSnake was because you know what just started and passing the cups around and germs and that kind of thing. It was never a question of this, you can't do this. It was just a question of, it was a kind of a health related at the time. Maybe that rule has changed because of you know what? Who knows? Here is the solution. You have to have the BeerSnake. So how do you get around it? Very simple. Have a sign on the entrance coming in, and a big sign. Audi Field. We love the BeerSnake. Please follow the rule. We love the BeerSnake. Pass your cups down. Do not throw them, is all we ask. We have one. We love the BeerSnake. We have one rule. Please pass your cups down. Do not throw your cups. Enjoy the game. You put a big ass sign when you walk in with a fun BeerSnake logo on it with a DC Defenders shield. You stick that on the front. People are going to take pictures with it. They're going to share it on social media. And then they're going to go in. And then they're going to, if you got a beef with somebody, it's throwing cups. But they were warned, don't throw the cups. I get that part. That's what you need to do. But it was so ridiculous because they kept doing it. And I feel like it was probably one or two people. I'm like, weren't you here 3 years ago? There was nobody here. Like that was the part where I was like, I don't understand. So that's the solution. Stick up a sign, say, pass the cups, don't throw your cups, and let the BeerSnake go. We have a game March 5th. It's an early game. People are going to fly in to DC to either sit near the BeerSnake or participate in the BeerSnake. People were flying in from all over the country to go to DC Defender game. It is a great venue. You're right there on the field. It's a great spot to see a game. The energy was off the charts. It was so much fun in the second half. And I'm so thankful that the team won because it just made the night great. You saw the commentators on ESPN talking about it. The XFL social media, it's not like they ignored it. They were making comments on it too. My video went viral. The guy behind me's video went viral. I think Barstool used his video. You got to make sure that the BeerSnake is there. That's all I have to say. I've given you my solutions. If you ever want to message me, Audi Field, by all means, you know where to find me. Podcast at XFL News Hub. We got a big reach, 38,000 people on Facebook. Just send me a message and say, hey, Mark, tell the fans the BeerSnake is on. Welcome, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll spread the word that the BeerSnake is safe and good to go. And here are the rules before you go to the game. Trust me, we will get it to all the fans. That's the solution. Stick a sign. Just tell them not to throw it, and you're good there. I feel for the staff that had to deal with it. There's the pencil pushers telling them what to do, and they got to go do it. And once they let it go with 2 minutes in the game, we had a BeerSnake and everybody was happy. So smash the like button for the BeerSnake on the video. Really needed to talk about it because it's important. Because this is a thing that the fans are created. Cacaw is a thing. The BeerSnake is a thing. It's important for the league to make sure they have the BeerSnake just to keep the mojo. Because if you get rid of the BeerSnake and you say no beer snake, don't do it. Have something over the PA announcer. Hey, we're all Audi Field. We love the beer snake. We love the defenders. Just be safe. Please pass your cups. You do that a couple times with signs, you're good to go. It will be fine. And people know going into that section. Are you shocked that all those people were in that section because they like the seats? There is no seats. There is no seats. You have to stand the whole time. You don't have a luxury thing where somebody's bringing out your food or nothing. There are the worst seats in the building. They're all the way at the end zone. There's nowhere to sit. It's just concrete slabs. You think they're in there because they want to do the beer snake. Come on. I'll help you out. Message me, podcast at XFL News Hub, if you're part of Audi Field. And if you're not going to do the beer snake and you want to explain why, if it's whatever, as long as you're transparent. Look how Dean Blandino got over and the rules got over. The biggest message from this weekend's game was Dean Blandino talking about the rules and being like, okay, that makes sense. That was the biggest kind of mainstream view. And the lemons on the field with the beer snake. Those are the two biggest things. So smash the like button if you hit the beer snake. And it was fun, man. It was a great time. It was a great stinking time. I've been to Ravens games. I've been to other NFL games, man. I'm telling you right now, going to a DC Defenders game at Audi Field is a whole nother level. If I had to choose between going to, and I went to the USFL championship game, that was fun. And that was good. Audi Field is just a different vibe. It's a different vibe, and they're so into it. It's really awesome. So appreciate you guys there. On to the social. Let's check out what's in the chat. John says 10 STL. Philip says XFL football is pretty good. Tim says Houston is 6-0. I don't know about that, bro. Wait till you feed the DC Defenders, bro. Did you see this is my number 6. See, Ben DiNucci that the mayor gave me. Andrew says XFL Lemon Hub. All right, book it. Let's get the name there. XFL Lemon Hub sounds good. Damien, I told you Houston would be undefeated. Oh, okay. Tim said good. Houston will fill up San Antonio just like when Rockets play there. Damien says Orlando sucks. Asterisk 7, the smiley face. Philip says Texas Throwdown going down next Sunday. CFL is Canadian. Yes, that's right. Zachariah says Houston Roughnecks are the best, period. Gregory says hats off to the XFL. That was truly an X sighting. Nice. I like it. Weekend of football. Hey, Rock, Danny, and Jerry. You have your face for the league, and his name is AJ McCarron. Who do you think this? I don't know who we think the face of the franchise is just yet. It's got to be a quarterback, most likely. Is AJ the guy, him getting all emotional after the game with his kids? That was fantastic. Fantastic. Asterisk says President Joe Biden automized and operate. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. We don't care about that. John says, I've come to a decision. All right, everybody. Pause what you're doing. John has come to a decision. I want you, as an XFL commentator of the games, love the games this week, but they didn't have the same energy as you when it comes to talking about the XFL. I appreciate that, John. Message your friends at ESPN. The thing is, the vibe that I've got, and I'm thankful everybody's coming in new to the XFL, is that we've been around for a long time. Everybody is welcome. Whether it's taking my name of my podcast, I don't care. Whether it's, guys from ESPN who've never watched the league before, they're coming into the space. They're coming in like, oh, this is cute. And then they're coming in like, oh, wait, there's actually like a ton of people that love this stuff for a league that only played 5 games. And they're kind of surprised, and they're learning. Like everybody's kind of, the mainstream is learning about the XFL community, the all football community, which we've been kind of a curator of over the last couple of years. And, so it's cool. They just got to get used to it. And I think the energy will be there. I'm still getting familiar with the players. I mean, I think it's a home. The fact that Mike Mitchell doesn't write for XFL.com is beyond me. You have a superstar right there, Mike Mitchell. Have him write for them. over some of the guys that they have now. But hey, he works for us, so I am perfectly happy with that. But we'll see. Remember, this is the beginning of the journey. This podcast is the beginning. You see, I cleaned up my shelf. It got my Star Wars thing over here. It got my Zoa, my Fan Control Football, the old hat. I got some USFL stuff here, Ray Lewis, my Rush. I added the towel. Everything. This is just the beginning. News Hub Fantasy is just the beginning. All of this is just the beginning. Russ says, bring back the BeerSnake. I hear you. I saw there was some petition on there for that. Jacob says, Roughnecks definitely have the best coaching staff by far. I mean, I don't know. With the Roughnecks, I mean, you got the defense with Wade Phillips and this hybrid run and shoot thing. Is Brandon Silva's your guy, though? Is he the guy to get you there? Palindemo says, number 3 really should have been number 2. Denzel says, Cacaw. Gregory says, are the TV ratings out yet for the past weekend? No. Mike Mitchell is on it. He's ready. It's like when he gets all the data, it will come out. Philip says, Mike Mitchell got it right. Houston is number 1. A bunch of other stuff. Let's see. Michael says, watch 3 of 4 games. Enjoy them. Hope they succeed as a league. Watch this show occasionally for info. Saves me reading mostly. Keep it up and good luck. Oh, thank you very much, Michael. Just check in, hanging out. Get your fix with us and the fans, and then go do whatever you want to do. Batteries not included. Basically, I see the Roughnecks, the defending champions of 2020, since they went 5-0. Let's see if they can repeat that. I miss PJ Walker and Roughnecks era. I would love to see if PJ Walker came back to the Roughnecks now. I'd be like, it's over. Sign it. It's over. Is Brandon Silvers the guy? Or is Cole McDonald the guy? That's the part we're going to have to find out. Intelligent Savage. Great weekend of XFL football, no doubt. Paladin says, wish I can afford a trip to Battle Dome. Decent turnout for DC. Yeah, it was a decent turnout. Mark, when DC gets their passing game going, who you believe will be the top receiver on the team? Lucky Jackson, I think, is a guy. That's the one to keep your eye on there. Damien says, BeerSnake stupid. Damien, do I have to ban you from this channel? Jake Sweet says, what's wrong with BeerSnakes? I agree with you there. Don checking in. The league and the DC Stadium need to talk it over and explain why they can or cannot create the BeerSnake regardless. No throwing items on the field. Agree with you 100%. Paladin said Oliver Luck even contributed to the snake. That is correct. I was there. The place went bazonkers when he did that. I think the XFL misses Oliver Luck. There's just a ramp up for the league it was much more, but I don't know. It was just different. It's just different. And I think we're kind of not guilty, but you know what I mean? We had such a good ramp up and good staff, but we're live now. James says, my problem is that they literally had a sign at the concession stand advertising. It's saying BeerSnake starter pack. Where was that? What, James, what are you talking about, a sign? I know that they were talking about a BeerSnake starter pack, but that was at Walters, where you can get food and whatever. I don't think that was at the stadium. If it was at the stadium, that would be very interesting. But I believe that was from at Walters. All right, let's take Chris says Brendan Silver is a number 1 elite. Be elite, the elite. Smash that like button. All right, let's get to some of your social media stuff and then wrap up the show. I told my wife it would be an hour, and that was wrong. Could you imagine if we were doing all the other stuff? So anyway, how did you do? Let's see if this looks better. Okay. How did you do on the XFL Pick'em? Did you play? Did you play the XFL Pick'em? Over under 1.5 3-point conversions combined. I picked the over. So I got the Josh Gordon, Martavius Bryant. Gordon got 1, but Martavius Bryant didn't. I got it wrong with the Vegas Vipers. 2 forced fumbles or an INT, forced INT. Picked the under there. Definitely a lot of picks in this game. A lot of pick sixes. defensive touchdowns. Arlington Renegades over-under points allowed. I picked the over, 16.5. I got that one wrong. Guardians Roughnecks coach, who was going to be the winning coach. I got that one right. I picked the over, 52. T-Buck is 51. Kalen Balazs, Jaquez Patrick, 110. I knew that one. I figured San Antonio is going to be a rushing team. We'll see how that goes. Battlehawks Brahmas tight ends. Did they do anything? I picked the under. They did. They score a touchdown? Abram Smith, 85 rushing yards. I picked the under. Oh, I picked the over. It was the under. I picked the over on the tight end thing. Yeah. So, did it okay. And my parlay, I got 2 out of the 3. So, that was a fun little game from your friends at Genius Sports. The fantasy football is alive and well. On the we got my team there, our points. This is our league going. I do have to. The problem with the league data. So it doesn't have the on the website. So there's no API. I'm trying to get an API. They said get back to me. The data doesn't have the kicking information on the data. And it doesn't have like 2-point conversion, 3-point conversion, any of that stuff is not listed on the website. So if it's not listed on the website per se in the stats, I can't really use it. So that's kind of a problem. I did see where there's the kicking one, but it's in the description. I'm going to give the league, 24 hours. Maybe they'll clean it up. We'll find out there. But fantasy games are all that. And we also have the pick'em stuff as well. Need to work on that as well. Again, we're all just, this is the beginning stages. This is a public beta and not perfect. I'll tell you that. All right, on to, let's see, Facebook real quick. About the Alamodome. Steven says, will it be in San Antonio from this moment on, or will it just be different city? I think it'll be different cities. Nicholas says, I think you got to make it a home team situation. You really think people will travel from Seattle if they are the ones? Of course they will. They travel for the Super Bowl. Liam says, oh my God, what an amazing weekend of football games, almost all coming down to the wire. I know The Rock is watching this league. Very proud. Lafayette says St. Louis will sure be next season. I agree with you there. I think for sure St. Louis will be the stop next year. If they're selling, they'll be good to go. About the power rankings, Chris says, how many will survive if it's a bad year? Question, where does the money behind the league come from? We got corporate sponsors this year. Wyndham or something, like timeshare. You got Zoa. A Progressive Insurance is a corporate sponsor. So they have corporate sponsors out there as well. On the Twitter, someone sent me this. Don't tread on the BeerSnake. Free the snake. Donald says, do you think there's a chance the XFL will make Under Armour merchandise available for fans? I'm a DC season ticket holder. All right, my guy. See you at the games, Walters. But I've been holding off buying anything in hopes of higher quality merchandise being made available. The merchandise, my wife and I, I'll tell you this, and she noticed it. The T-shirts that we got from the beginning to now, the quality is getting better. So whatever they were using, local distributor with the logo on it, now you're seeing it with the XFL on the bottom of the T-shirt. I think the quality is getting better. So I think you could pull the trigger and buy at least a couple merchandise things. My video, 26,000 views or 10,000 views. Justin from Richmond said, persistence is key. They were so tired of fighting the fans over a line of cups after a couple hours. Like, why not? How can it be that important? We need answers. We need answers. I agree. And let's see here. Oh, about the attendance numbers. So 12,047 in Arlington, Houston, 12,784. San Antonio, 24,000. My bad. 24,245. And in DC, 12,438. I think you'll get that 12,000. We'll see what Orlando does and Las Vegas, I think, will be lower. I think Seattle and then St. Louis will be really good. Just something to keep an eye on there. on the YouTube channel. Then we'll get to your phone calls. What do we got here? The at house says go Dragons. Okay. Ultredge 2012 says shields up. All right, my guy. Yeah. JTB says the Sea Dragons. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Pinkskins Punk 4098. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. Leave us a review. We're live. One person doing it all, producing, to being the switch person, doing the talking. Yusuf Farland 9509. Let's go Guardians. Good luck with that. Pigskin Junkies, San Antonio, and James Mesner says, love the player 45 Roughnecks player, made me cry. Yeah, that was a good show. That was a good show. What did you think of XFL today? I got a chance to. I was watching most of it, and player 54 is great. XFL today, I think, has got potential. But again, these guys are like, what is this league? Just give us a call. XFL News Hub. I'll set you up with Mike Mitchell. I'll set you Anthony Miller, Evan Wilsmore, Pat Ruffino, Matt Lyons. Like, I got guys. I could send them your way. They could tell you everything you need to know about this league. I got guys. On to the, hey, let's do this. Let's take a phone call.
Hey, how are you, man? I just have one word of advice, and I don't know how connected you are with some of the decision makers or movers and shakers in this league, but the gambling community will make or break the XFL this season, and it'll make or break it early on. Make sure that there is good, accurate depth chart reporting, good, accurate injury reporting, good, accurate game day inactives reports coming out, because I watched the enthusiasm for the USFL, last year was through the roof. Everybody was pretty amped about it. And the first 2 weeks were a nightmare for DFS and gambling. They just, the reporting was so inadequate. We were getting reports of inactives that then went out and played in the game. We had guys that were listed as starters that were inactive on game day. Guys were just throwing money away, building lineups the first couple of weeks. And listen, the first week, all those contests were full for the USFL. And after 2 weeks, it's just like the size of the contests have been cut from 20,000 down to 2,000 people, and they couldn't even fill those. It was a disaster, and it didn't have to go that way. All they had to do was make sure we had good reporting on injuries, depth charts, inactives, and it would have been fine. So I watched lack of that kind of information last year getting out in a timely fashion completely tank the USFL as a DraftKings sport and as a gambling sport. And if you guys are good about your reporting on injuries, depth charts, inactives, you should do just fine, because people want to play DFS football. But there's nothing more important than making sure the gambling community is.
I appreciate the phone call. I just ran out of time, but I 100% agree with you. The XFL did, for a couple of the games, I think they missed one, put out inactive lists. And I agree. It really should be inactive lists. I guess they're waiting till game time. But they did on social media. We tried to report it as soon as it came in. If I wasn't home, then I was on the road. Couldn't do it. But yeah, we tried to get the league did a good job for the most part. There was one where I didn't see the league put out an inactive list for a game. But again, they're working out the kinks. And I tell this a lot of people about the XFL 3.0 era. A lot of these people are only 2 months old on their working there. So they're working out the kinks right now. So, but you make a great point, and I agree with you. It was frustrating with the USFL because it was like, what do you mean this guy's not even? He's not even there. That happened a lot with the USFL, and yeah, that is something I will pass along to all the leagues when I have conversations with them. But yeah, no, you brought up a great point, and I agree with you. It really sucked the life out of the USFL gambling thing, gambling, because of that was a killer. I agree with you. And it's funny. Hey, if you're a DraftKings person and you type up and you look at some of the players, it's going to say Evan Wilsmore, Anthony Miller, Mike Mitchell from XFL News Hub reports blah, blah, blah. So we're helping out. We're helping out the gambling community there. Don checking in. Kakal, my friend, 1 week down, 9 more to go before the Battlehawks prepare to defeat the DC Defenders for champions. Do I have to delete this? How are you going to read that sentence? It's an abomination. He said, I'll tell you, the St. Louis message boards are lighting up shortly after halftime to bench A.J. McCarron. Who are you going to put in? Some of us were trying to talk them down off the ledge while agreeing that the offense was dismal to that point. I'll admit that I was resigned to a away loss with 3 minutes left. The only way out was a touchdown, 3-point conversion, 4 for 15 conversion to maintain control of the ball, and then a field goal just to tie. All this from an offense that had not clicked at all at that point, and then the improbable happened. They did it. They did it all except not a field goal for a tie, but a touchdown for the win. And, of course, the same people on the message board, they wanted AJ's head, are now praising him. It's going to be a fun year. Cacaw is the law. Don checking in, our buddy Don. Always appreciate that. Yeah, he didn't look great in the beginning, but that end, that gives him what? You're going to complain about? I mean, I'm telling you, and this is the thing. I think the worst part of play wasn't the offensive line, wasn't the defensive line. It's just the timing between the receivers and their quarterbacks. That was the piece that showed weakness. That's why he got interceptions and pick sixes. Just, I thought he was going this way and he went that way, getting that rhythm. And that's why, was it Paxton Lynch and Tolliver? Who was it message board? They played at Denver. I think it was Paxton Lynch. Oh, and Latimer. Paxton Lynch and Latimer were connecting early because they had familiarity playing together in Denver, and that helped them out. So that was definitely a thing in that game. All right, let's take another phone call.
Hey, this is Norman Rickard. I really believe that that the XFL is going to be exciting. I can't wait, and I hope the best for your DC Defenders. I believe that they're going to make the playoffs, but what teams do you think is going to make the playoffs in the XFL? I would like to know. Thank you, and have a great day.
All right, my friend Norman, God bless. Hey, you have a great day too, my friend. Let's see. In the North, oh, man. I mean, if A.J. McCarron, lost that game, I would say DC and Seattle are your guys. DC, Seattle is the guys. But now with the Battlehawks would win, they got a little swagger. If St. Louis, I'll tell you this, and I'm going to be a homer pick because I'm going to go with DC. If DC loses to the Vipers, I might be out. I'll be concerned. But let's say let's say this Battlehawks game. Is this a make or break game for Seattle? Seattle goes down 0-2. Battlehawks are 2-0. The DC Defenders are 2-0. Then you got Battlehawks. I think it's going to be Battlehawks and the DC Defenders. If Seattle wins and the Vipers win, then it's up for grabs. I think Seattle has the team. But there's a little bit of magic. That football god's magic in the St. Louis Battlehawks. Because that was a great, incredible win with swagger, confidence. Everybody got the first game under their belt. It's going to be really week 3 and 4 is when things will start clicking. It's kind of what the USFL did. If I were the betting man right now, and I agree with Don said, the fact that St. Louis pulled it out at the end, and they wanted his bench him before that. I think Ben DiNucci is as an MVP type guy in the league, and I think you could go with Seattle. Look at Seattle basically shut down any kind of offense DC had. You're talking about Jordan Tamu was the best quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks, all right, in the USFL. Abram Smith, number 1 pick. and they did nothing. So I think Seattle, DC is it. And I think Arlington and Houston will be the teams in the South for sure. All right. Let's go on to another email. Nate checking in. He says his week 1 reaction. For those of us who are fans of the 2.0, the XFL 3.0 is who we thought it was. 3 of the 4 games were excellent. Of course, there were some slow moments, but teams are still learning to play together. What people remember is how games end and how had 3 fantastic endings in those close games. Yes. Case in point, the Don, which is Don just said. AJ McCarron is the new hero in St. Louis. They wanted to have his head like, what's the guy? Not Sam Roberts or, oh God, what was his name? Before they left, chat room. What was the quarterback's name? Sam Bradford. That's it. Let's take on the BeerSnake. And this is good because Nate kind of brings this in. He says he worked in public safety for over 15 years, started out as an officer for 13 years, and now leads the PSO at a state university. So this guy knows this stuff. What I saw from the security at Audi Field last night is everything you're trained not to do in public safety. I repeat, a dude that has 15 years of experience at a state university, you're talking about college students, which was kind of like in that section. They did everything not to do in public safety. Rather than de-escalating the situation, they escalated it, causing thousands of intoxicated people to throw lemons, cups, bottles, and beers, which created a very dangerous situation for both players, officials, and the 12,400 fans. That is a great point. He said, this is an old skateboard from point A to point B scenario. For those who don't know what this means, it means this. If you have a policy that says that you can only skateboard from point A to point B, but you find skateboarders violating the policy, you have to use what is called the pick your battles method. If the skateboarder is violating the policy, but through your judgment, you determine that by stopping them and taking their board, the situation will escalate and say they might vandalize something or encourage others, you simply provide a warning and let it go. If they continue to do it, but they are not causing any harm to people or property, you don't take the skateboard. In some cases, you wouldn't even give a warning. In the BeerSnake situation, if someone in the crowd complained because cups were being thrown, I don't know if this was the case, then you could provide a warning through a use of a PA announcer or scoreboard, as they did after they instigated the situation beyond their control. In their case, they chose to walk up to the snake and dismantle and take it, which automatically triggers an aggressive response and escalates the situation. He's right. Because of that, they caused a dangerous situation for players and fans, the exact opposite result that they were trying to get, which really defeats their own purpose of existence. That's a good point. You can't be the XFL and be out promoting the BeerSnake and Reggie Barlow out saying that they'll be the first person to add to the cup and then have stadium security undermining that. There was obviously communication issues there. Totally agree with that. Had they allowed the snake without intervening, fans would have created the snake. A few unhappy fans could have moved or left, and they would have made more money on beer and less of a mess to clean up after the end of the night. True. Instead, they created a dangerous situation for 12,000 people, made less money, caused tempers to flare, and probably created additional overtime for their employees who would have had to stay late to clean up the absolute mess on the field in that section. It also goes without saying, but they maybe lost some fans because of it, is additional revenue lost. Totally agree with him 100%. Bottom line, there is an old saying in law enforcement and public safety, it's choose your battles, and they clearly don't understand what that means. The head of security who approved of that behavior from those security personnel should be terminated. Hey, this ain't me. This ain't me. I am reading what he says. Should be terminated immediately for putting thousands of fans in a dangerous situation and inadvertently creating a new tradition of throwing lemons onto the field. He's not wrong. Now, firing the guy, I don't know. I don't know if this guy, I mean, I have a feeling I know the two, it was one or two dudes who I believe I know who it was. And I don't know what their deal is, but now there's going to be a tradition. Now they're not going to sell lemons anymore, saving lemon trees, I guess. But he's got the security at Audi Field is 100% complicit in the chaos and should be dealt with accordingly. If that's an outside firm hired by Audi Field, the contract should be terminated. This is a guy. This isn't me. This isn't Mark Perry. I get in trouble for other people saying stuff, but he's got a point. 15-year experience doing this kind of stuff in college universities. Not college campuses, we're talking universities. Those are big schools. In my over 15 years of career in the field of public safety, if I ever made a decision like that, and in addition to that, continued to instigate the situation when they tried to break the BeerSnake again and again, I would have been fired immediately for not doing my job, which is making accurate judgment calls on what's best going on to keep all people safe. Thanks, Mark. It was nice meeting you at Walters. We had a good time. Looking forward to the next one. Nate checking in at Nate Rossetti on the Twitter. We'll give his handle out. Great guy. Met him and his brother, I believe. And yeah. Hey, man. Great email. Appreciate the email right there. What do you think, chat? I think he's right. I mean, I told my wife, I was like, I don't want to like out the guy, but I figured I was like, and she's like, do not put his picture online, whatever. I mean, and I got a great relationship with the DC Defenders. I want to have a great relationship with Audi Field. I mean, I love everything about it. He does have a point, and again, anybody can come on this show at any time and explain to the fans why. I mean, transparency. But yeah, it escalated, and I felt like, are you escalating it because your boss told you up there? Or are you escalating it because of your ego and you want to crush the young kids, whippersnappers? But other people are pissed. I mean, and then there was stuff on the field, and they were just leaving it on the field. Is that something too? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, make it work. Like I said, growth mindset. Let's figure out a way. Put a signs up. I think you're good. All right, one more phone call. Appreciate Nate checking in. As always, it'll be really interesting to see what happens at Game 2 coming up here in a week or two. 2 weeks, I think.
Hey, Mark, I just want to say I love listening to your show. Keep up the great job. It's my second time calling. I think the first time I got all jacked up. Don't know why. But I can tell you, as a Renegades fan, man, I will take that W any day of the week. I mean, defense stepping up big time when I had to. Some return with some pick sixes there. I mean, 2 in one game. That was awesome. And then special teams, perfect in field goals. They also caused a major turnover in the second half of the game. Special teams looked really solid for us. Offense, holy cow. Have a lot to work with, but they just got to get better at punching it in the end zone. Definitely enjoyed the game. I thought it was a great first game for the XFL, and just really enjoyed it as a Renegades fan. And the only thing I didn't notice about the jerseys before, but I like how they had that pissed off bull there in the back of their jerseys. I was like, that's pretty cool. Not a fan of the R. I've tried. Just can't. I like the 2020 logo with that pissed off bull. Those are 2 logos I can get behind. Anyway, but definitely really enjoyed the game. Just glad we won. Winning ugly is always better than looking good losing. You know what I mean? Anyway, appreciate all the work that you guys have been listening to since pre-2020 XFL News Hub. So anyway, keep up the good work, guys. God bless, and can't wait to hear your prediction for next week's game, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this year-round football. XFL, the USFL, back to NFL, year-round football. 3 different leagues. Absolutely love it. Have a good one. And, man, I just hope the rest of the games are as good as this first one.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Renegades fan, I'd rather win ugly and then lose whatever he said. That was a good line. I like it. Is Plitt the guy? The team says that he is the guy. Sloter, Sal Cannella. Sloter was an MVP candidate in the USFL. Is Plitt the guy? That's going to be the question. Is he the weak link? They're high on him. We'll have to find out. Hey, smash that like button. Smash the like button if you like lemons. Smash the like button. We got some good ones here. Let's see here. I saw some. Let's see. What do we got here? Anybody new? Cyril checking in. What's up? Steelers Nation. Shout out to the XFL. I really enjoyed it. The quality of football was high. AJ says, enough with the BeerSnake. How about some stats and player analysis? I already talked about. I did the stats early in the game, my friend AJ. We're going to have more analysis, pre-game stuff on our Thursday show at 8 o'clock, where we get you in before the games with, talking about DFS and betting and all that good stuff. The XFL site needs stats. Yes, you notice the XFL site does not have a stats page. XFL News Hub does have one, but it's still, the rosters are still not cleaned up yet. I need some time to kind of do that, but we have some of the stats up, but not all of them. It's missing some players, but you can kind of get an idea. There's a stats page on XFL News Hub. It is not 100%. It is missing some quarterbacks. I've just been super busy. Took the day off today to just focus 100% on XFL stuff as we've gone in. I saw there was a good line in here, something about lemons. Chris says, I like the lemon throwing onto the field better. Bring lemons. Where did I see that one? Dave says, the BeerSnake situation needs to be fixed. The lemon throwing will only hurt the image of the league. It was funny for a minute, but if someone rolls their ankle and tears a ligament, hell no. I agree. And that was my point. Why was the lemons on the field? Like, people just looking at it. The same people on the phones that was like, yo, there's nothing, you go get rid of the BeerSnake. And they all look, and there's like stuff on the field, and people like that were working other stuff were like, hey, do you want us to like get this off the field? I don't know. It was just kind of a weird situation, but I'm glad no one got hurt. I agree with you there. Washington, D.C. checking in says, D.C. Defenders, we have the best fans. Well, I think you might be a bias. A. King says, Vegas winning it all. Guy. The King, A. King says, they're winning it all. All right, my friends. Great show. We will be back on Thursday to get you all set for the week. Stay tuned. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, or if you're part of the, I'm telling you, I got the solution. I got the solution for you, Audi Field. And I don't know the story behind the story, and I'm sure there's more to it. What I just saw there, let's fix it. And March 3rd, 5th, I think when the next game is out, we'll have a lot of fun. It'll be a great time. Take something, use it for a positive, work the lemon in it, however you want to do it. I know they were talking about it today. Email podcast at XFL News Hub with your thoughts, record an MP3. Leave a voicemail like those three guys, 888-430-7692, extension 3 to be part of the show. And leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, We don't mind the you could give us 5 stars and critique us and say, hey, you need to do this a little bit better. We'll get there. We're on year 2 of the 5-year plan, bros. Watch us live every Monday and Thursday. Apparently you guys liked it. So we're doing the Thursday thing. It'll be a lot of fun because, there's still tons more that I could blab on about going into the next week's games and players and everything, but we're already at an hour and a half. So we will just break it up into 2 episodes. All right, my friends, that is it for me, folks. Again, hey, thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you like all football, if you like anything other than the NFL, like and subscribe to our channel. Appreciate you guys hanging out. As always, God bless. I'm so glad you enjoyed the show. 1 down, 9 more to go. Ain't that a wonderful thing? The next goal is to get past 5 weeks. That is my next thing. We got into week 1. We completed week 1. We could kind of sigh of relief. Now we got to get in. I want to get to week 6 and play week 6 games. Then that will be the next hurdle. And then getting past week 8 and then 9 and 10. So we got 1. Let's get to 5. All right, my friends. That's it for me, folks. As always, God bless. Mahalo. And I will see you all on Thursday. Later.